Renewables are the only way out of this, because fundamentally what's playing out around the world is the crisis of energy security. For Europe, that is most acute because Europe is a net importer of energy and is massively dependent on Russia. And so the only way in which they can achieve a greater level of energy security is to produce more energy at home, and that can only really come from renewables. And even for Australia at home, this is not so much a question of energy security, because we do produce more than enough energy here, but the way we've set up our market, we export almost all of that, and the domestic market gets buffeted by what happens internationally.
Anthony Albanese has promised to turn Australia into a renewable superpower. Given what you've just said, how achievable is this and how quickly?
So look, Australia has all the right ingredients to be a renewable energy superpower, just as we've been a fossil energy superpower. So it's still going to be a couple of years before we can really start to get Australia's energy system back on track. But in the long term, 3-5 years, if things are done well and managed well, then we should be in a much better spot than we are now. And in 10 years, in 20 years, Australia has the potential to be a superpower of renewables and of a zero emissions global economy.
Well, the Environment Minister Tanya Plibersek said yesterday it's an unreasonable proposition to shut down coal mines. It was an election promise to keep them open. Does that make it more difficult here in Australia?
Although the climate science tells us we need to be moving at that sort of speed, obviously we can't leave people in the dark. So the essential thing here is that we get on a fast track to the energy transition, that we build renewable supply, that we start to build hydrogen infrastructure, that we go down the scaling up of low emissions resources, electric vehicles, electric heating, etc., so that we have the new energy sources to transition to, and then we can begin to turn the tap off more rigorously on coal and gas.
And how much will this fast track to renewables cost?
Yeah, well, look, globally it's trillions. It's trillions of dollars a year of investment need to go into renewables. Right now, our cut of the numbers is there was about $750 billion spent on energy transition investments, so that's building renewables. We need to be doing multiple trillions a year. In Australia, we invest about $5 billion a year in renewable energy, and we need to get that up to 10, 15, 20 billion a year if we're to get on track and start to decarbonise at the rate that we need to in order to reach that net zero target by 2050. So this requires a lot of investment. It generates a lot of opportunity, and what you really need is for the settings to be right so people have the business case to invest that money.
So are the policy settings right now?
So the settings are not quite right yet because we've had 10 years of policy dysfunction. So the investment case for renewables is strong, but the electricity grid is congested and weak, and so it's hard to get connection and to install those renewables in the places where the resource exists.
And broadly, are corporates moving fast enough to achieve their net zero targets?
You've got some that are quite advanced, that are leaning forward and making the investments and making the plans. But by and large, most of them are sort of at the earlier stage of making the pledge, but then thinking and planning what they're going to do, but finding it very difficult to execute on investment decisions because the policy settings are not yet there.
Kobad Bav Nagri, thank you so much for your time.
Welcome.